show running. We're sitting at 30%, it says. So
I'm going to be hitting the air here,
60.
sauerkraut.
Go ahead. And I believe we will be live right now. There you go. Hey, YouTube, how's everybody doing today? This is Sauerkraut, and I am here with Don Pierce and Mrs. Sharon Marie White. And we're going to talk to her today in conversation with Don Pierce and Sauerkraut. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing
Great.
great. How about you?
Oh, any better, I would be you.
You can never be me, buddy. I'm going to tell you, you're live on the air at Access Radio right now. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have Miss Sharon Marie White with us here today. What a special guest I have. I even put a button-up shirt for this interview on,
Nice.
folks. You know, it's because I have become one of the biggest fans of Sharon Marie White that she probably ever has. I've been following her YouTube channel. What a great, great girl. And I'll tell you what, we'll be back with Sharon right after this.
Right, there you go. So if you're listening
You're
from
clear here.
yeah, if you're listening from accessradio.ca, well, you won't hear this. So you got to tune in to the YouTube channel or Twitch or wherever else we're live streaming. I didn't turn on the Facebook today because Facebook's starting to do some stuff where they're trying to eliminate the indie artists, if you've noticed, and we're not very happy with that. So it's kind of our silent protest by not live streaming today, even though we have until October 1st to continue streaming there. But we'll just continue here with what we're doing now. So we got some people coming into the chat. Starting to fill up there a little bit. I guess I could pop that up here so that other people can see here what is going on. Let's just do that, which also then means I need to adjust this. Well, let me just go back.
Well, anyway, folks, while he's doing all that adjusting, welcome to the Don Pierce Show. We are live right here with, of course, Sauerkraut in conversation with Sharon Marie White. How are you today, Sharon? You are live now on Access Radio.
I'm very good, thank you. Nice
What
to
a
be
pleasure. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupt a lot, Sharon, because we have this little bit of a delay, folks, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. Anyway, Sharon, welcome to the show. I'm glad you are here. You know, you are got to be one of my, I don't even know how to say it. Like in music, you are the best in country music, in Canadian country music, as far as I'm concerned. You've stuck to a little bit of the tradition in country music. How do you feel about where country music is going?
I'm kind of happy to see that the more traditional country is making a bit of a comeback. I think with myself, I sometimes felt I was running away from the country because when I was younger, I was in rock bands and all that kind of stuff. But when I write music, it is country. It's, I've tried to write a rock song. it just doesn't, I have a really hard time. The country just comes out. I mean, blues, I've written some blues songs and I like the blues, but I think it leans more to, the folk and the country than, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you wrote this song, Small Town Prayer, and it is going around the world like hot fire. What do you think about that? All of a sudden, Miss Sharon Marie White's being played in Ireland, Scotland, the UK, Canada, the United States. Like, you have gone crazy with that song.
I'm very excited. Yeah, it's kind of definitely a dream come true for me, on whatever scale or wherever it goes. I'm very excited. It just kind of eggs me on to keep writing and, just keep doing what I'm doing. It's nice to have some validation after all these years. It's been a long time.
Well, let's talk about them years. I've talked to you quite a bit on Messenger and following your page and stuff. And yeah. I got to tell you, I've looked at your YouTube channel, I've looked into you, and I got to tell you, when you sent me that little clip there of you in the past,
that would be a good laugh.
It just shows you, it showed me how long you've actually been in the music business. So tell the folks how long you've actually been in the music business.
Oh gosh, since I was 15, so about 40 years.
Uh-oh, we just did something. We got Sharon's age. We didn't really want to do
Yes.
that, but
okay. I let the hair go. You know, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's kind of like me. When I started to lose it, I just didn't care anymore. It's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I got to tell the folks here, this song, "Small Town Prayer," it touched my heart because it brought me back to home, where I was, and of course you've seen our advertising and some of the stuff we did for your show there, and this show. Yeah, it's I went through and I started picking out some of the pictures that I had and some of the stuff on the internet about Canada, and it just brought me back to being home and a kid. The small town and the small town prayer. It means so much to different people. Have you got any feedback about the song from other people besides my big mouth?
Yeah, no, people. I mean, that's kind of why I wrote it, because we lived on a farm only till I was about 9 years old. But that just never ever left me, just that feeling of being able to run around and do whatever you wanted to do. And, and of course I always sang. So, I mean, I sang out to the cows. I sang just that feeling of freedom and everything. And we lived right near a little wee town, of course, as you know. We're all, my relatives still are there and they're still farming. So I still feel that pull. And even any small town we go to, when we're out working, I feel that same pull, and I feel that same, like it's home. I mean, I know these people in this town, but it feels like I do, because there's so many similarities in small towns, So that's kind of
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that small town for a second. You're originally from the Manitoba area.
Yes. Napinka.
And where is that located in Canada?
That is about an hour and a half from Brandon, Manitoba, would be probably the biggest center to that.
Which is kind of in between Winnipeg and the Saskatchewan border there, somewhere
yes.
in that middle area of Highway 1. Just because we are aired in 5 countries here, and we wanted people to kind of get a picture of where small town Sharon comes from. And so now you're in the Calgary area, Calgary, Alberta.
Yeah,
how do you find the music industry differs from Canada and the U.S.?
Oh gosh, I don't think Canadian music gets the same exposure. Perhaps I don't really know, but that's kind of my.
Well, I agree with you there. I've talked to a number of artists in this industry, mainstream and indie artists like yourself, and. Right. The biggest struggle is getting the promotion and the recognition that y'all deserve, is my thought. And even the likes of Paul Brandt, went to the U.S., came back because of the exposure and do you think that people in the music industry just kind of think Canadian artists are just here and they just don't really want to bother with them?
Well, it's sad if that's what they do think, because when I first started to listen to other indie artists, I was blown away. I said to my husband, because, and I mean, guaranteed that the production quality has to be there.
That is true.
I totally understand that for, especially mainstream radio, but we're trying to do that. We're trying to make the quality, but I was just blown away thinking, wow, there's so many great indie artists out here. Why aren't they on the radio? Because my husband would say, well, this sounds just as good as what they're playing.
Yeah, I agree. And that's where I got into it. And that's where, when I came to Access Radio, and when we were doing the negotiations for me to come here, that was part of my contract, that I could play independent artists and put them on the air. Now, they did have, I'm going to tell you, we had some struggles, Sauerkraut and I, with management here about doing that. Because, and then they started listening. Management started listening to the music that I was playing on the show, and all of a sudden they said, you can add more of that. And to me, to get the independent artist out there is very important to me. I've been in this business a long time, and in the entertainment industry, I've been on the trucking end of it, I've been in the lighting end of it, and now the broadcasting end of it. And I truly think that you guys, as independent artists, will really get the short end of the stick. And I say that because I want people to understand that there is a hell of a cost to what you do.
Exactly. Yes.
And without their support on Spotify and all that other music genres that you guys put your music out to, it's hard to compete.
Yes, totally. Yeah, because we don't have the same exposure or the advertising, all that stuff. And we have to do everything ourselves. So, I mean, which is okay too. And I think it was interesting when you had Rachel on and you asked if, since The Voice, if she'd, been offered any deals or anything. And then she said, no, but I'm actually quite happy being an indie artist. And I thought, good for you. Like, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. Then you have your control. Yeah. But I know on the other side of that, you don't have the, advertising and the push. But
and speaking to that, that brings up a question that I have to ask everybody. This is just my job. What do you think of Taylor Swift?
You did that on purpose.
Well,
you can be honest, Sharon. I am.
Taylor fans angry.
I do every day.
Okay, so in the beginning, like when she would win her awards and she was flocked by all these men in suits.
Right.
That struck me as, is it about the music or just sell as much as we can? Now I think she's gone the pop phase and I think she's going back to country, but she realizes how important it is to have control.
Right.
You bet.
So I have to give her credit for that, for sure, because she's realizing I've got the power now. I mean, yes, people got her where she is, but then she can take back her power. And I think that's awesome. Yeah. And especially for a female, because that's another issue I've heard with DJs is saying, you girls out there, women, send me your music. I want to play it, because they're still getting majority of the men sending in the music. And I don't really know. I've been thinking about that too, and I'm not really sure why or how, as a mature performer, I could, encourage the younger gals to join in and get involved in music.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much of that the girls aren't getting involved, but as Don always talks about the corporate bubble and how man-centric it is, so to speak, and causes all sorts of hurdles for the girls getting into the industry. So, I mean, Taylor Swift breaking through that actually helped with getting more girls to the forefront, I think, too. And
right.
I'll let Don continue on with his thoughts. It seems how I stole the words out of his mouth, I'm sure.
No, not really. That was a great way to put that.
Yeah.
I have this ongoing feud with Taylor Swift, and you listen to my show, so you know that. And we've bantered back and forth for a couple of years now. And I'll tell you, like, my biggest thought of that, to me, she let down country music. She came out with, Tim McGraw and all them famous country songs that she did. And people fell in love with her as a country artist. And all of a sudden, corporate bubble grabs in. And all of a sudden, she's a pop star. Now we got all these weird costumes and bright makeup. And how do I put this without insulting Nashville? You don't want to insult Nashville. But,
no.
They put this clown makeup on this girl, and yes, she made millions doing the pop scene. And the only thing that had to change my mind about this, Sharon, is that a fan actually sent me an email and said, hey, I agree with your point about Taylor Swift, but do you realize how many of the younger generation she brought to country music? And I had to stop and think about it. And now, you listen to my show, I play her once in a while. Not that often, but I do play her.
Yes.
And it's just for that reason that the younger generation with this new, what do they call it, pop country now, has brought so many of the younger generation to country music, which I have to applaud it.
Exactly. And it was interesting because I've also taught guitar off and on throughout my life. And I would, little girls would want to learn the guitar. And why did they want to learn the guitar? Because they wanted to learn to play and sing like Taylor Swift, and my stomach would kind of turn, but I was like, well, okay, here, But no, I'm like you. I applaud what she's doing now. She's taking her power back, and yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. Like, she has that corporate bubble, and she has millions of her own to do whatever she wants to. But she also has the backing of the studios and everything else to put millions into her promotion.
Yeah.
Now, what people don't understand is Sharon Marie White has to do other things.
I have zero.
Yeah, you got me. You know, you got, you know, and a lot of independent.
Well,
you've got a lot of independent, you know, DJs out there, good, bad, or otherwise, are playing your music.
Yeah, I shouldn't say so. I take that back because things are changing. I just mean like throughout the course. But I am so grateful and thankful to all the indie DJs that are playing, you know, my music and all the independent. It really just, I just find it so exciting right now to be an independent artist.
You know, and it's an exciting time right now. And I truly believe that the corporate bubble is watching, because all of a sudden with this pandemic, and we'll get into that with you in a second, independent artists are growing like crazy. Independent radio stations are growing like crazy.
Yeah.
Guys like me are getting hounded by the big corporations to say, what are you doing? And, you know, you could ask our crowd, how many of these people from this corporate world have actually checked on to make sure we're a licensed radio station? It's just crazy.
Yeah. No, we've had a whole bunch actually of people. We've even had Sony, as I mentioned, contacting us before. We were working on a deal when the pandemic first started, and then suddenly they just it fizzled out the deal. But they still have been checking up on us, and there's times that I know, because we can see all the people that are listening. And
right.
We actually can see the Sony corporate head office listening to our show for like 300-400 hours at a time. It's just crazy how long they leave it on for, right? So yeah, and so we're able to see that kind of stuff. And yeah, but now that this pandemic made it so big, now all of a sudden, like I said, the big corporate guys like Facebook is totally against you guys, and that's what this new legislation or this new Facebook rule that they're passing, no live streaming music anymore, and no